Sometimes, the brightest hero stands just one step away from becoming the very villain they once vowed to defeat, and that change doesn't arrive with thunder or dramatic evil speeches. It creeps in quietly, through a dream that twists, through grief that becomes too heavy, through a belief pushed just a little too far. We love watching heroes rise, unlock new power, overcome the impossible. But there's another kind of story that stays with us longer. The story of heroes who don't fall because they're weak, but because they win the wrong way. Light Yagami, Eren Yeager, Lelouch Lamperouge, Homura Akemi, each began with pure intentions. Each believed they were saving the world, until their ideals stretched into something darker. Justice became obsession, freedom became destruction, love turned into possession, and sacrifice transformed into tyranny. This is the story of those shadows, of heroes who crossed the line, not out of evil, but because they believed they were right. Welcome to When Anime Heroes Turned into Villains: The Fall of Light. Let's begin. The God Complex, Light Yagami. Light Yagami never woke up wanting to be feared. He didn't crave chaos, bloodshed, or a throne made of bodies. What he wanted, at least in the beginning, was purity, a cleaner world. A world without predators, criminals, decay. He was brilliant, disciplined, morally confident long before the death note touched his fingers. And in the beginning, we believed in him. The first names he wrote were monsters in their own right. Murderers, rapists, men who harmed without remorse. Watching them fall felt righteous, like divine balance. Like someone finally solving the parts of society we were too afraid or too powerless to solve ourselves. The world became safer, news reports filled with sudden justice, and Light stood invisible behind it, a silent guardian. We didn't question him. Why would we? Crime was falling, hope was rising. For a moment, Light Yagami felt like the answer to every broken system we'd accepted for too long. As Kira, Light's line between justice and ego thinned until it disappeared. Soon, he wasn't removing threats to society, he was removing threats to himself. Anyone who doubted him became dangerous. Anyone who opposed him became corrupt. Journalists exposing him, criminals, FBI agents tracking him, criminals. A child of logic, a genius like him, became intolerable simply by existing as a rival. Light's righteousness didn't fade, it calcified. He stopped judging actions and began judging existence itself. He didn't crown himself God in a moment of madness. He climbed there step by step. That's why his downfall hurts. Not because he transformed, but because he didn't think he ever did. To Light, Kira was justice. He never looked in the mirror and saw a villain. He saw the only man strong enough to save the world. But Light shattered that mirror piece by piece, until there was no reflection left, only the cold smile of certainty. The tragedy of Light Yagami isn't in how he fell, it's in how confidently he walked off the edge, believing he was rising. The freedom paradox. Eren Yeager. Eren Yeager came into the world fighting. His first breath was a scream for freedom, raw, wild, desperate. As a boy, he didn't dream of thrones or conquest. He just wanted to see the world beyond the walls. He wanted sunlight unfiltered by fear. When Titans stole his mother, that dream didn't die. It sharpened. It became a blade meant to carve a path to liberation. Eren trained, endured, pushed through pain most would break under. But freedom is never free, and the price is rarely fair. When Eren finally reached the ocean, he didn't find paradise. He found chains, not forged by Titans, but by humans who feared and hated his people. In that moment, his dream fractured. Freedom wasn't a horizon waiting to be reached. It was a war waiting to begin. So Eren did what broken heroes often do. He embraced the monster the world already believed he was. If his people were to survive, others would have to fall. Land cracked beneath the feet of colossal Titans, and the world trembled as Eren stood at the center. Not laughing, not raging, but resolute. He didn't destroy life out of hatred. He chose annihilation because he believed it was the only way his people would ever breathe freely. Inside the walls, he was a savior. Outside them, a demon carved from tragedy. The sacrifice of control. Lelouch, V. Britannia. Lelouch V. Britannia never set out to rule nations. He wanted one thing: peace for his sister. A prince betrayed by his own blood, thrust out of royalty like an inconvenience, he grew up hungry not for power, but for justice. When the Gyas chose him, it didn't elevate him. It amplified the pain he already carried. It gave a brilliant mind the authority to reshape the past that ruined him. He didn't begin as a tyrant. He began as a soldier, with chess pieces for weapons. But wars cannot be won without casualties, and the line between sacrifice and slaughter blurs quickly when you're the one making the decisions. Every victory for Lelouch required a loss, a friend, a follower, a stranger begging to be saved. He destroyed empires to free people from oppression, only to build another in its place. Freedom by force, peace by fear, salvation through control. And the worst part? He always knew what he was becoming. Unlike Light or Eren, Lelouch never lied to himself. He understood every scream, every death, every tear shed because of his actions. He carried that weight willingly. If the world needed a villain to unite against, then he would be that villain. If peace required a monster, then he would wear the mask. His final act, the Zero Requiem, was not a fall, but a surrender. He offered up his life so the world could finally breathe. The price of love, Homura Akemi. Homura Akemi wasn't born strong. She became strong because she had to. A quiet girl with trembling hands and a fragile voice, she found purpose in one person, Madoka. When magic turned their lives into tragedy, Homura did what no one else could bear. She rewound time, again and again and again. Each loop carved scars into her soul. Each loss eroded her innocence. Saving Madoka wasn't a mission. It was her reason to exist. But love stretched across timelines becomes something unearthly. It becomes an obsession wrapped in devotion. Homura watched Madoka die more times than any heart should endure. She learned every version of pain, the quiet kind, the violent kind, the kind that leaves you breathing but not alive. So when Madoka finally became hope itself, a cosmic light beyond human reach, Homura made the most heartbreaking choice of all. She didn't fight to save Madoka anymore. She fought to keep her. Homura stole God from the heavens, tore reality apart, and built a universe where Madoka could live, not as a goddess, but as a girl she could hold. In doing so, the protector became the captor. The angel became the devil. Not because she wanted power, but because she couldn't bear another goodbye. The light inside the darkness. Heroes don't become villains because they crave chaos. They become villains because they're human. Light wanted justice. Eren wanted freedom, Lelouch wanted peace, Homura wanted love, and none of them set out to break the world. They set out to save it. But perfection doesn't heal. It consumes. It demands obedience, sacrifice, and silence. And when a hero tries to rewrite the world, it is the world that bleeds first. Deep down, a quiet voice inside us wonders, under the same pressure, the same loss, the same impossible choices, would we really have done any better? Maybe that's why these stories stay with us long after the credits fade. Why do their names echo like warnings? Because the fall of Light is not just tragedy, it is a mirror, a reflection of what we could become, if our brightest intentions ever grew too dark. If this story made you think, if you felt the weight of every choice, then like, share, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, which hero's fall shook you the most? And why? Let's talk about it. The light may fall, but the conversation doesn't have to.